He is a god of the game.
Manchester United had a spectacular transfer window, a great start to their league season with 13 out of 15 points. But enter the chosen one to spoil Ole's party. Between Chelsea and City, who is going to walk away happier after having spent 100 million on a player? More of the pod, we talk about Ancelotti's impressive start, Juve's first victory of the season, and why it is not ridiculous to say Everton are better than Madrid or Barcelona. Let's go.
Absolutely world class.
Hello and welcome to episode 34 of Sports Charcha, where we are ready on a Thursday night to bring you all lovely listeners a lot of interesting observations, opinions and stories around the world of sports. And to do that, let's welcome Ishan.
Hi guys, hope everyone's safe and sound. Excited to get started.
See, when we are talking about the weekends, the weekend games, the games to look forward during the midweek, I never thought that we will talk a lot about Carabao Cup, but Manchester United, they're like, no, we need to talk about us. We want to be a part of this PR game. They gave us a reason to talk about.
Yeah, okay, let's get one thing clear. It's not a disaster.
Yeah.
Because it's the Carabao Cup.
Yeah.
But this is yet another failure when it comes to a tournament game for United, which I think is going to hit Solskjaer badly eventually, because I don't see them right now, based on the way they're playing, challenging for the Champions League at least this season, which leaves us only with the Premier League, which is all around consistency. So it would have been good to have one trophy. This is something even Mourinho had. At least he had some trophies with United. I feel in that regard, it's a failure. See, West Ham are a great team. They're not a weak team. It's not an easy game. But still, you still expect United, at least with the squad that they put out in the game, to at least come through with a result. So I think fans are really disappointed because they know Ole now, where, Chelsea looks undefeatable. So where is the trophy coming from in a year where they've got Cristiano Ronaldo?
So I believe most of this anger or whatever frustration that's coming from the United fans is not about the fact that they lost the game. I mean, this is again my personal opinion. I'll be totally wrong. So what happens is, the way they played the game yesterday, they were defensively they were very strong. Positives out of the game, Eric Bailly was really good. I thought he had a very good game. Considering the fact that you have Varane and Maguire as the top two, it's very good to have a third defender who's doing really good. I thought Van der Beek had a decent game. More than a decent game, I still think more than a decent game to demand a place in the starting lineup ahead of Fred. And I would say Sancho showed a bit of what he can do. It wasn't the quintessential Sancho of Dortmund, but he still showed certain flashes of what he can do. He still need to reach to a level where he can actually flourish. Those are the positives, but as I said, the way they let West Ham take control of the game, and this West Ham, agree, they're not a great team, but they're still a team that should have been at least put a better performance. I think that's what irked the Manchester United fans, but I completely agree with what you are saying. From the larger context of things for this season, Carabao Cup, if I'm a very positive fan, I would see that as a blessing in disguise. Guys, if you have noticed over the last 2-3 weeks when we talk about La Liga, especially when you talk about Real Madrid, there is that extra pump in Ishan's voice. And that is mainly thanks to Don Ancelotti. Ishan, how impressed are you?
Let's put it this way. When you expect very little, it's very easy to be pleased. And I think Real Madrid, the way they are playing, have gone far and beyond what not just me, but any Madridista had in mind. In fact, this is one of their best starts to the La Liga in over eight years. And that's incredible. We're top of the table, and we're banging in goals, and I was talking to you. I was telling you this on WhatsApp today that it's literally the same squad minus two players, in fact,
Yeah.
and minus in fact one of our leading goal scorers in the last decade, Sergio Ramos.
Yeah.
And we are obviously, what Ancelotti does, and he did it in his first stint with us, is that he opens up play, lets people play the way they like to play, but optimizes a bit of tweaks a little bit in terms of his using his experience, where they can actually become better players. And no better example than Vinicius. He's become such a productive player. He's not just if I don't know if a lot of our viewers or listeners know, there was this player back in the day which Bala and I know called Denilson. He used to play for Real Betis, and all he used to do used to be sent on the 85th minute to just use skills and hold the ball. But he was a precocious talent, but at the end he was just labeled a skillful player who did nothing. Vinicius was almost going to go in that direction, and Ancelotti, I believe, has truly revitalized his career, actually given it some direction, and we're seeing reaping the benefits of that. And what a game yesterday, man. 6 goals. Asensio scoring a hat-trick, his first hat-trick for Madrid against his old club. He didn't celebrate any of those goals. But amazing. Top of the table. I can't be happier.
Yeah, this is really, really impressive from Real Madrid. And in fact, their rivals on the other side of Madrid are also actually enjoying quite a bit of a run. I mean, it's a very patchy run. It has been very bumpy, but they are still unbeaten in 6 games. I'm talking about obviously Atletico Madrid. So after 6 games, they are on 14 points. And once again, a very scratchy coming from behind towards the end, Luis Suarez saving. I mean, this is textbook Atletico Madrid minus the clean sheets.
I feel, football should, since everyone is talking about changing different rules in football now, I think it should be like hockey. 90 minutes meaning game over. Because then Atletico are in the relegation zone this season. Because, again, 5 minutes added on, 6 minutes in fact added on, and Suarez bags the winning goal. Great goal, by the way. Horrible defending by Getafe, but a win is a win for Atletico, and, 6 goals or 1 goal, it's all 3 points. So Atletico will be really happy with the start they've had. They still not face tougher opponents. Let's make that clear as well. They've not had a significant challenge. They've not faced a Valencia, Sevilla, or a Madrid. I won't say Barcelona, but still, we'll talk about them in a bit. But yeah, I think I don't think there are any complaints with Simeone right now.
Valencia, on the other hand, again continued their losing. Actually, you should not call it streak. It's just a second game. They lost to Sevilla 3-1. This game was totally out of syllabus. Sevilla scored 3 goals within like 25 minutes or something, and Valencia scored 1. And then after that, this was a pretty boring game. Barcelona drew their game against Granada at home 1-1. Koeman, I am not sure how long he is going to be there as Barcelona's coach. Everything is pointing towards his sacking. Now, there's still 3 games left to be completed today. Barcelona are playing their game against Cadiz. This is an away game. Everyone's eyes will be on Koeman. I don't know why he is doing it. He has always done it wherever he has gone. He unnecessarily draws pressure, unnecessarily draws attention towards himself and fails. Whatever it is, it doesn't look very good for Barcelona at this point of time.
I feel that tonight, it's going to be Gerard Piqué and Araujo starting as centre forwards for Barcelona. I think that's done. And another fun fact, correct me if I'm wrong. Is there ever been in the past where a Barca and Madrid manager have both managed Everton?
Oh, no, not to my knowledge. That's a very, very interesting fact. Yeah. Yeah, not to my knowledge. That's very interesting. So what does this make? Like, does this make Everton awesome or Madrid and Barca bakal?
That's up to the listeners wherever the ball lands, whichever side of the court.
Like La Liga, Serie A also had their midweek fixtures. Nothing massive about it, but the big news that coming out of the midweek fixtures is Juventus finally winning their first league game thanks to a spectacular display from none other than Federico Chiesa. Like, see, we have talked a lot about this generation being Haaland versus Mbappe generation, but I would like to throw in Chiesa's name in the hat. I really think there is some serious talent in him.
I mean, I think we discussed this a couple of podcasts ago. He's by far the best player Juventus have right now. And he's obviously being the difference maker in most of their games. Yes, the results have not gone their way. And I think they made quite a meal of their game in the one which they won, their first win of the season, by the way. But this guy's going to be a superstar. It's going to be a challenge of, considering Juventus's financial status. Can they retain him? What will happen if, say, a PSG come knocking for a Chiesa, right? Because that I feel is not Spain, not Germany, not England. I think France is a very good pipeline for Italians. If you look at Verratti, Donnarumma right now.
Yeah.
So if I could potentially, and I'm not being a rumor monger, he could potentially be a long-term replacement for a Di Maria. You never know, because that's the value he brings. So, he's amazing, but Juventus are so poor, man. Like, they just make everything so difficult for themselves. They have no playing style. It's going to be a very difficult season. I think they just, like Barcelona, just want to be done with it.
Yeah. The other two Milan Cups continue their great form. Inter Milan defeated Fiorentina 3-1. AC Milan defeated Venezia 2-0. So the Indian Premier League is continuing its action. Last episode when we talked about KKR was busy thrashing RCB's ass. Now after that we saw two games, and one game was like we have seen teams choking games. We have seen teams losing from winning positions. This one was one of the best I have seen ever. Just to give you guys a quick idea, Punjab Kings were playing against Rajasthan Royals. They were chasing a score of 185 in 20 overs. They needed 10 runs to win in 15 deliveries with 8 wickets in hand. And they ended up losing the game by 2 runs. Were you at least following the game?
I followed it, and I sometimes feel Punjab have done this many times before. They have been serial chokers when it comes to chasing, runs which are, lesser than the number of balls left. And this is yet another example. I don't know if it was really good bowling, especially in the last over, or was it horrible batting?
I would say a combination of both.
These are games which actually make T20 very interesting, because when we say that, every match goes down to the last ball, this literally is that in a way, because you never would have thought that Punjab would blow this game till there was the last ball left.
Yeah, people are learning a lot of bad lessons from Dhoni. I think they should start finishing off the game sooner. Following that game, Sunrisers Hyderabad played Delhi Capitals, and Delhi Capitals are continuing their scintillating form, and Sunrisers Hyderabad are continuing their horrible form. They lost the game to Delhi Capitals by 8 wickets. This was a nothing game. Delhi just ran riot. Kevin Peterson came out and said that Delhi Capitals reserves team can beat the Sunrisers Hyderabad team. They're in a very bad shape. It doesn't look like this is going to be their season. Now, Oh, that KKR team in South Africa was cursed, man. They weren't producing bad performance. They just managed to lose games, if I have to put it in a way. This Sunrisers Hyderabad team has no hope. So on that scale, I would say performance-wise, this SRH team seems to be worse than the KKR team of South Africa. I remember there was a game, Ross Taylor and Mark Boucher, like they played a blinder to beat them. I mean, at that time it was RCB. And I remember McCullum on his knees. He was captaining. Ganguly was taken off. McCullum was down on his knees after the final boundary went. Ross Taylor walked up to him, like put his hands around his shoulders. Now today, as we are talking, Mumbai Indians are playing against Kolkata Knight Riders, and Kolkata Knight Riders are in a brilliant place right now. I mean, they need 56 runs in 63 balls, but this is how exactly Punjab were placed against Rajasthan Royals, and still they managed to lose the game. So anything can happen. Who knows? So IPL again continues to happen. So tomorrow you have RCB versus Chennai Super Kings, and weekend we have double headers. Saturday there is Delhi Capitals, Rajasthan Royals, SRH Punjab, and then Sunday the big one, CSK versus KKR, and in fact the biggest one, RCB versus Mumbai Indians. That will be a good game. Rohit Sharma versus Kohli. Press will have a go at it.
Definitely going to be a insane game for the media. Normally these very hyped up game, Raw versus SmackDown kind of game, generally become very lull matches in reality. But I hope just for the public, it just adds a bit of a drama, a storyline to it. It'll be interesting to watch.
So let's move on to the games of the weekend. Now, this weekend has about 3 or 4 really interesting games around football in Europe, and we just spoke about the interesting games that's going to happen in IPL, and we also have F1 action this weekend. So we'll start with the big one on Saturday evening 5 p.m. The first game of this weekend, Chelsea versus City, top of the table, 6-pointer.
Yes and no. It's more than being a decider in a way. It'll actually be one team stamping their footprints on the Premier League. My money is obviously going to be on Chelsea because they just look so dominant. And if there is one weak point in a Guardiola team is when things don't go their way, their defense crumbles. So it's going to be a battle of the midfield. De Bruyne has to have a really good game. Rodri probably, I'm guessing, who will be starting, and in the center of midfield will have to have a sterling game because he's probably going to be marking N'Golo Kante. That's not an easy feat by any means. But yeah, I think if there ever was a time for a £100 million player to shine and actually make a difference, either way, on both sides, there are. This is the time, right? It's going to be a cracking game. I don't think it's going to be a dull affair like normal, Premier League heavyweight games are. This might be a real show of strength for both Pep Guardiola and Tuchel. So yeah, I'm excited for that game.
So the only reason why I have a slight hope for Chelsea, not Chelsea, I have a slight hope for City is I saw their midweek Carabao Cup game against Wycombe Wanderers. Agreed, it's Wycombe Wanderers, but City, after going down 1-0, it just felt like City suddenly woke up and looked at Wycombe Wanderers and went like, oh, you guys want to play, huh? You guys want to play a game? Okay, chalo, let's play. And then they scored 6 goals. If Foden and De Bruyne can continue the way they played against them, City will be really, really good. The way they both combined, it was brilliant to watch. So that's why I'm really looking forward to this game because Chelsea's defense has been absolutely top class so far. They haven't put a foot wrong at all. Not just this season, I'm talking about ever since Tuchel came in. So this game is again another challenge for Tuchel to solve and let's see how it goes. I mean, you cannot expect a better start to this weekend with this game. This is happening on Saturday evening 5 p.m. So watch out for that. Now this game is historically a big game, but if you look at the team's stature right now, this may not sound big, but trust me guys, for many of the new age listeners, Arsenal versus Tottenham, the North London derby, has a lot of history. In fact, we can do a separate episode talking about the history of North London derby, but both these teams seem to have switched places from where they began this season.
I think, yeah, as you said, there was a time when Tottenham were on top of the table and Arsenal at the bottom, and their fortunes have suddenly reversed. But as you were saying, for a lot of youngsters, this used to be once upon a time called the battle for the 4th place. And there were many memes around it where Arsenal for many years, dug their feet on, Spurs fans by saying that जितना भी हम टट्टी खेले, फोर्थ तो अपना ही है. And more often than not, they always, you know, reached fourth before, the Spurs team, because Spurs historically blow a lot of matches at the end of the season. But yeah, it's going to be an interesting game. I won't actually count Spurs out. In fact, I would actually peg them as favorite just because of the squad they have. I'm not looking at form. I'm not even looking at managers. They've got a much stronger squad, and if they just have a good day, I don't see Arsenal having the attacking strength to bang in multiple goals. They might have a goal, but I don't think they can defend. So, in that regard, I would still say Tottenham have a better chance. But you know, Arsenal are just getting a string of good results. Odegaard's on form. Aubameyang banged in a goal as well. Carabao, they moved on to the next round. So things are looking good. It'll be interesting, but my money's on Spurs. What do you think?
I am going for a draw, but I understand where you're coming from. In fact, my initial thought was a draw, but when you said Spurs, I started thinking why it can't be Spurs. But then now I'm leaning towards Spurs, especially because the way Nuno's team play, it's ideal to play against a team like how Arteta's team plays. So I believe, from a tactical standpoint, that will give Nuno the edge. And Kane also scored a goal, as you said. So all Tottenham will need is probably one or two chances, and they should be able to convert it. And Arsenal's defense is slightly less experienced than Tottenham's defense. So yeah, I understand why Tottenham are slightly ahead of Arsenal. Even
This is almost like a poor man's Mourinho versus Pep.
a Spaniard and a Portuguese, but not Pep and Mourinho.
Yes.
Has Nuno ever coached under Mourinho as an assistant coach at any level?
No, never.
No? Oh, never. Okay. But both had a similar career trajectory. In fact, dude, it is a very interesting point you brought in. Nuno from a goalkeeper to a coach. Mourinho from a goalkeeper to a coach. Pep Guardiola, central defender to a coach. Mikel Arteta, central defender to a coach.
Okay, they were not central defender, central midfielder.
Sorry, central midfielders. My bad. Central midfielders. But you get the point.
Yeah.
Dude,
Yeah,
inception.
there are a lot of. I put a lot of thought behind it. I took exactly 5 seconds to make that analogy, but I think it works now that you've justified it.
But let's talk about the real Mourinho. Because it's not just the North London derby, it is also the Rome derby. Lazio versus Roma. Yes, for many new listeners for Italian league, for Serie A, Lazio is also a Rome team. In fact, Lazio and Roma play in the same stadium. The Stadio Olimpico is the home stadium for Lazio and for Roma. So it's going to be a great game, because it's not just Lazio versus Roma, it's Sarri versus Mourinho. It's always a great battle in the touchline. Not that they have a lot of animosity or any history behind them. I mean, I don't remember anything happening between them. But they are very unique characters when it comes to coaching in football. So will you be watching this?
I'll watch this for sure, because it's a clash, as you said, a clash of personalities, and also a very distinctive clash of ideologies when it comes to football. And both of them have started really well with their respective clubs. Obviously Roma had a shock loss, but both of them have had really good start. Their team has adapted to that, how they view football, so to speak. And I think it's going to be a very well balanced team, well balanced game, because both Lazio and Roma are pretty strong when it comes to their team, and those matches are always classics, right? There are so many rivalries in Italy other than the big names playing each other. If you look at the Torino versus Juventus, those games are always never down to the squad. It's down to that game itself and the drama it creates. So it's going to be a great watch.
So those are the football games for the weekend, guys, which we'll be definitely watching, and we'll talk about it on Monday. But it's not just that. We have the big F1 Grand Prix, the Russian Grand Prix, especially after the drama at the Italian Grand Prix. Now, Ishan, what fans can expect out of Sochi?
Thanks, Bala, for framing a sentence correctly. I know English is a bit of a challenge, but I'm really excited for this because it's not going to be a championship decider, but it's definitely going to underline which constructor goes into the last leg of the Formula One season with the better momentum. Now, if you look at just in terms of form, Bottas had a great result. Perez, although finished third, but due to a penalty he actually ended up fifth in terms of points. So while I still think Verstappen is in a stronger car this season, so if he has a great qualifying session, he's going to be pole. And normally when Verstappen starts with pole, he doesn't generally give up that lead. But you're going to see a more aggressive Hamilton. I think for many years you've not seen Hamilton being challenged to such an extent, not in just in racing, but in terms of just ego battles. You've never seen anyone get under his skin as much. It takes me back to the days of Nico Rosberg, when Nico Rosberg stole the title away from Hamilton, and by the way, they were under the same team. So this is going to be very interesting. I'm hoping in all this drama, a Ferrari comes on a podium, because my loyalty still lie with the red. But it's going to be amazing to watch. I hope you guys watch it. It's going to be entertaining. There's obviously going to be drama. Let's see what happens.
Yeah, I really, really wish, after seeing what happened at the Italian Grand Prix, I just want a safe race, an exciting race, but yeah, a safe race. That's about it for episode 34, guys. We had a lot of fun. So what we'll do, we'll watch all the weekend games. We'll come back on Monday night and we'll talk about all of that and all other stories that happened during the weekend. So until then, it is bye from Bala.
And bye from Ishan, guys. Have a good weekend.
Thank you everyone for listening. If you enjoyed what you heard, please make sure you hit the subscribe button, and also please, like we are literally begging, to rate our podcast on whichever app you are listening to. It not only helps us, but also helps new listeners to find our podcast easily. You can also reach out to us on Twitter and Instagram @SportsCharcha. A big shout out to the Jam Room Audio for our theme music. You can follow the Jam Room on Facebook @the Jam Room Audio. Bye.
Absolutely world class.